Patrick, this is obviously Caleb on this is, going back to talking on Jacksonville, but he has really blossomed under your tutelage and Robbie's. Can you talk about his growth since he's gotten here and his expansion of his production?
You're talking about KC, correct? I missed the first part. You're talking about, yep. I've wanted to coach KC since he was coming out of college. I remember the Zoom meeting, I believe it was during, I can't remember what it was, but somehow I met him. He wore that 18 at LSU, smart player. Anytime you got somebody in the front that has the flexibility in terms of coverage, rush, set the edge, and intelligence, that's somebody that's, I want that in the front because it's going to give you some flexibility. In terms of his growth, you have to talk to him about that. I just know that, again, what I've encountered and what I knew about from the process, smart player who wants to do right. He's done everything I asked him to. Probably dropped him a little bit too much last week, but, he didn't say anything, so, but it's a good tool to have out there for our toolbox out there for a defense in terms of how we decide to defend the field. And I couldn't be happier with how he's progressed for us. And, I'm glad he's getting some production. And I like his leadership. There's a lot of energy. With Max not out there, he's brought a lot of energy to the room and out there at practice, and he's demanding. So that's a positive.
You have experience in the past of players like that who are, very high picks who have to just find themselves in maybe a new location, that kind of thing, where they flourish?
Yeah, when I think back to Akeem Ayers, when we got him at New England, he came mid-season. I think he was at Tennessee. He had production there too, but we got him mid-season, and then by the time the end of the year, I think he had like 4 or 5 sacks. He had an interception or 2, a lot of flexibility. Similar in terms of somebody from college that I thought my buddy Trey Brown, who played I think Akeem went to UCLA. He knew him. He kept telling me when he was coming out, he's like, "You gotta like this guy." I'm like, and I think I disagreed with him early on, but then when we got him, first game he got in there, I think he had a sack on a Tex game, and I was like, and of course, Trey called me about that. And then from there, the kid just ended up getting an interception, made a big play in the Super Bowl, setting the edge so Hightower could make that play on Marshawn that led to the interception. So, yeah, I've had some experience. He's the one that comes to mind when I think about it in terms of similarities.
Patrick, it's a short week. An opponent that you guys don't always see in the Jacksonville Jaguars, they've changed quarterbacks. How challenging is that, to put together the game plan? How much do you guys rely on, like, advanced scouting and those kind of reports that come to you?
Everything in the building is connected, so and I think, from top down, Tom, AP, hopefully myself, probably not in the, sometimes I could be a little, in a ornery mood sometimes, but, they come down to give me some information, but everything's connected in terms of, what they saw from the advanced scouting, taking the information, especially when you got an unfamiliar opponent, getting that information, whether it's that or the analytics. Kay does a good job for us in terms of the analytics, and then, studying the players. Thankfully, gone against Mac a few times, so the players similar. We played against Peterson's system before, so there's some crossover there, but everything's connected, so we rely on everybody. It's, to go out there on Sunday and try to win a game in this league is hard, obviously, and we've had our struggles this year, but it's all hands on deck, So that whether it's in the building, on the field, that's what we're trying to accomplish here, and everything's connected.
When do you usually get your eyes on the next opponent?
Who, me?
Yeah.
It's different for different coordinators, but I work ahead. I work way ahead. So, like, my thoughts I had on whoever the opponent is, again, it might fluctuate based on injuries and the quarterback changes and stuff like that, but just keep remembering, I don't have any hobbies. So, downtime is football time. And I have the ability to compartmentalize. I learned that from Bill. Even when I'm watching a different opponent, just taking notes there, here, it's just, you're watching a game on TV, taking notes. I learned from the best in terms of Bill with that. So, because he always knew what everybody was going, what was going on with everybody. So, try to be similar, not close, but I try.
Especially when you are trying to work ahead like that, they have like a new wrinkle. Like Ingram goes out, the new guy Strange comes in. All of a sudden, he flourishes. Last week, how much does that kind of change up the approach? Or like, oh, we got to look at this guy.
We're trained in this league, and I think most sports leagues, especially when you're dealing with a contact sport like this, you got to be trained in dealing with adjusting. So whether it's from practice. AP might do a sudden change period. Boom, got to change. We're supposed to do third down. Oh, no, we're down in the red area, 4th and 4. So we're trained like that, from the way you come up in this league as a quality control coach. You get given like 12 tasks from 5 different coaches, and you're dealing with that. Then you do a good job there. Then hopefully you transition to being on the field. And as a position coach, somebody goes down, somebody has to tie their shoe. We're just trained in that chaos of a game, a practice, which leads to everything being connected. So just being able to adjust based on injuries, that's part of our training. And you always think of it, we're 1 of 32, whatever spot you're in. So hopefully you're one of the best in the world at doing that, and you try to you're trained to do that, and you try to do your best to adjust.
Coach, a couple of weeks ago, AP referred to Spillane as the bell cow of the defense. How much more does that even ring true now with Max being out and him having to really step up and be like the one leader?
The biggest thing for me was Spill. He's my mouthpiece, or he's my voice out there on the field. I spend a lot of time with Spill. 1, because he's a good dude. 2, because our jobs both depend on each other being on the same page. So for me, from the moment he got here, wanted to hand him the keys. He wanted the keys. He's been doing a good job for me. Max is a defensive lineman. Max is definitely our leader of our group, and really probably for the building, I would say. But just in terms of the mouthpiece, in terms of the communication, a lot of it goes through Spill, him being the green dot, him being in the middle of the defense, combined with the signal callers, the safeties. Those are the guys I spent a lot of time with. So, and then the way Spill plays, everybody would want to, be similar to that in terms of the play style, production, how much he cares. That's why this makes it hard when you're not winning, for somebody that cares that much and puts so much into it. It's tough. It's tough. As a leader, it's tough. You want to get that reward from him, but love everything Spill does, man. He tries to do everything I ask him to do. Doesn't mean it's going to be perfect, just like I'm not, but he tries to do everything I ask him to do. That's why, he's special. He's special like that.
So you have 2 rookies who are, playing a lot of snaps right now, Jonah and D-Cam. How much have you been able to see them grow, and also how much do you think these reps are going to help them moving forward?
Any rep's going to help. Just repetition. Again, I could show them in the classroom, we could watch tape, but until they feel it, they experience it, that's where the growth is going to occur. And so, but like whether they're rookies or 8-year vets, nobody cares. The fans don't care. The opponent don't care. Like it's about the production on Sunday, and now how they're being productive. Jonah especially in terms of he had the skill set. Robbie's a really good coach, defensive line coach, him and Dre. And the one thing I know, I talked about how hard he works. He corrects his mistakes, man. There's not a lot of repeat mistakes. And he's self-aware. He could come over to the sideline right now. Again, he's a rookie, so he's not as vocal. I always have to tell him to speak up. But I'm like, dude, he's like, I know, I have my eyes down. Like that, to me, he's growing as a professional. That's good to see.
What impresses you most about the body work that Brian Thomas Jr. has been able to put up this season?
That damn school, man, LSU. I don't know what to tell you. If my son, he doesn't play football now, but if he wants to play wide receiver, go to LSU. And I said, then Daddy will retire 5 years later. They're really good. They're really, really good. And they got a bunch of them. It's amazing. But because there's plenty of kids that have, the athletic ability, the speed. You see all the numbers in the combine. But these dudes come here to this league and they're just taking off. Jefferson, Chase, all these guys. Neighbors at the Giants. They're really good players. I'm sure they're probably competitive with one another. It started. For me, I remember Odell. It probably started there, and then escaping my name, the guy at Cleveland, and he was at the Dolphins. Huh? Yeah. I'm sure they got a Twitter, or whatever. I don't know. I don't do a group chat or whatever. They're probably competitive. Because they're raising the bar each year, and they could play. So I think this guy's doing a good job. He's doing a really good job. Really good job.
So 2 more on the
Patrick, in a league where you're judged only on wins and losses, you mentioned the losing. But with all of your starters out, other players injured, you still hold an opponent in an NFL game to 15 points. Are you able to appreciate when the defense does things considering all against it, or is it, nope, it's only wins and losses?
The business is about production. So the business is about production. As a teacher, I'm always appreciative and excited about growth. So, growth, if we got, lacking turnovers, we get turnovers. I'm appreciative of that, but am I satisfied? It really only, it comes down to wins and losses, but I appreciate growth, so individually and as a unit when we grow, but, no different. The fans don't care, like the standings don't care. The league, it's a production business. We got to win. You got to win. And so, like, it's whatever, say 15 points. Well, if they scored, well, then we got to hold them for less than our offense scores, period, point blank. That's what we got to do. So that's our job.
How much do you change your approach with players on a short week?
I talked to them. I really talked to them about the mental approach to it. I talked to the young players about the physical approach to it. I said, listen, especially the rookies, I'm like, you don't know. You got to talk to the vets. So I'm big on that, prepping them for, the recovery physically, the recovery emotionally for the game. Because, any of you guys that played, and especially at this level, it's an emotional game. You got to play with your emotions to a certain degree. So that's one thing. I talk to them a lot about that. And then I tell them, I'm going to stay out of your way. I'm not going to add too much to screw you up or anything like that on a short week. Oh.
Yeah, go back to Jonah real quick. He had made a nice play where he batted the ball down. Mm-hmm. But then afterwards.
Intercepted. You got intercepted.
Yeah, pointed out to him. He was actually more focused on, he was in the wrong place, he said. He took a wrong angle or something like that, and was more focused on that than, and had he not done that, maybe it would have been an even better play. But when you hear a young player talk about not even taking the credit for it and pointing out that it was actually not what I was supposed to be doing, what does that say about a young player like that?
Real dude. I mean, I hope y'all know what I mean by that. That's how we talk around here. Talking about real dude, like guys I've been around. Hey, so-and-so, that Pat could have got the ball. Those are the guys that, got pictures in my study at the house in Florida. You know what I mean? Like that. Those are the guys that, like, real dudes, man. Like, they could have done more, and I'm appreciative of that. So he's a young player. He'll learn from mistakes, and those plays will come to him. He's going to keep working. But real dudes, that's how they talk. All right? Thank you. Yep.
Scott, Aiden, obviously he's there, he's working, and is it difficult to plan for one quarterback that's gonna be under center, one that's not? How difficult is that on your job when you're not 100% certain what's gonna happen?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we talked about it a little bit last week because there was some uncertainty with Aiden, but, putting, just, again, we want to try to play to our guys' strengths and how they can help, who's playing in the game, affects, kind of your strategy and what gives you the best chance to win as a team. You know what I mean? So we're always going to take that into account. Injuries happen. It's part of the league. So it's not going to be anything that, like, I'm going to come up here and, like, complain about. Like, everybody has, their issues that they deal with, and that's one of ours that we got to prepare for, and just kind of try to do as best as we can to get our guys, going and get everyone moving in the right direction.
What was your assessment of Desmond's performance?
I'm sure, I don't know if he talks to you guys or if he talked to you guys, but he, I think there were some things he did well. I'm sure there's some plays that he wanted back, just a little bit of, like, patience and progression sometimes with him. And we communicated it, and it's tough. It's a tough situation for a guy that, he joined our team. The offense, changed, some during the season. He's been a backup, so you guys know during the week there's not a ton of reps. So normally the guys that getting ready to play, and then he had a bunch of preparation last game, and they gave us some different looks they really haven't shown, and they did a great job. Raheem is a great coach, and he had their guys ready, and a lot of credit to them. But yeah, there were some good things. There were some plays that we were really close on that I think kind of could get us going a little bit. We had some tough field position that we weren't quite able to get ourselves out of at times. And, you're in this league long enough, like, you're going to run into those type of games. We didn't want to do anything because of kind of field position and some situations we were in that was going to totally blow the game open. You know what I mean? And, I thought we did a good job of being disciplined. And, again, a couple plays go different. Like, I think we get a chance maybe to be kicking a field goal at the end of that game, and obviously we got to throw it in the end zone twice, but you're not banking on Hail Marys. I was proud of our guys, just the way that they fought and competed, because it wasn't going good. You guys watched it. So they could have gone south quickly, but just a testament to our guys of fighting and giving us a chance late in the game.
Scott, I know your focus is on the Raiders right now in these next 3 games, but your name did pop up with the University of North Carolina. Is there anything to that at all? Or?
No, I no one has talked to me other than the people that saw it on TV. So I'm focused on the Raiders. I want to, owe it to these players really to just get them ready to go play and present themselves as best as they possibly can. These guys are busting their ass every week. I think you guys see that, you know what I mean? And we, we haven't been able to get it done, but no, my focus is 100% here. And I want these guys, I just want to go win and have those guys have the feeling, because they deserve it with how hard they work.
Scott, with Desmond, does there at times to you appear that maybe he thinks too much rather than playing the game? Like there was one particular time it looked like he had somebody and he almost thought too long. Is that?
I think that's the case with a lot of quarterbacks. But like you show them different looks in practice. You watch film, and then so you prepare, and he does an outstanding job of that. And it's not just Desmond, but like. Every play is different, you know what I mean? So you got to still read what you see and then kind of and that's why I was talking about a little bit of just like patience through progressions and understanding that like, it's not always going to go to this one player, and see what the defense gives you and be able to kind of to read it out and trust your eyes. And it's a combination of like your preparation and then also, what are you actually getting to? But again, he hasn't played in a long time. And again, there were some good things, and it just, it was unfortunate. There was a couple plays that were really close that we weren't able to get made.
With Sincere out for the rest of the year, what's like the approach going in with the run game?
Yeah, I mean, Alex is back. We got Amir. We're still working through the rest of that stuff with the roster. Dylan have a chance, and we'll just, those guys have stepped up when their numbers called. I mean, Amir freaking was unreal at the end of that game, and he's a veteran guy that we know we can count on. So we'll just roll through them, and guys are going to get opportunities.
Did you think some of the late success was a result of maybe the way that they defended, or that or Desmond found a rhythm?
I think it's a combination of both. I think there's the clock is always an aspect. So like, they don't want to take an unnecessary risk and give up one play quickly. But so there was a couple deals where we got a couple completions, and then all of a sudden you get in a rhythm, and now all of a sudden it's like it's a real game again, and that's the deal with timeouts and 2-minute warning, and it's not about points, it's about possessions. We were only down 2 possessions, so we scored, and now we're down 1 possession, and obviously what happened, like we had a real shot to get that ball back, like with a real chance, and we did have a chance with 2, but it's just hard with no timeouts. But yeah, so there is a little bit of that. We went tempo, which I think that helped Desmond a little bit as well. But yeah, I think it's a combination.
Coach, despite their record, they have a pretty solid defensive front with Josh Hines Allen and Trayvon and Armstead. When you look at that line, what's really difficult about them to block, and are you welcome for the opportunity, especially with the young offensive line? Yeah,
for sure. I mean, those are 3 first-round picks you're talking about. They play extremely hard. They're real powerful players that obviously can rush the passer. So we got to be ready for them. And then on defense, the linebackers are very active. They've had some guys in and out of the lineup with the secondary, but they're still, they're competing. I mean, they almost won this past week. I've told you guys this before, and I like truly believe this. There's no bad teams in this league. Like all these guys are professional athletes, and you got to prepare every single week and get yourself ready to go play. Or you can be humbled very quickly in this
You
league.
mentioned the tempo, going up tempo. Is there, when you think about that in certain situations, situational football, could that be more implemented during the course of the game? What's the risk of that?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the risk of it obviously is like, there's a lot of passing, so potentially negative plays. Not being on the field very much, so now you're putting a lot of pressure on your defense. That's really not how we wanted to play this past game. We would have liked to flip the field early, and then they're in the poor field position, but it just kind of didn't work out that way. But no, that's definitely something that we talked about, of getting into the regular flow of the game and kind of mixing it in. And I think like what we're talking about too, like you get in tempo late in the game. Also, like now the 4th down becomes an aspect. You're in 4 down instead of 3, so that leads to a little bit of success. We had some success on 4th down, so there's more to it than just snapping the ball quickly.
When you're 2-12, Scott, but you got 3 young, Jordan, DJ, JPJ, playing and getting better, can that be a benefit coming out of a bad season, though, for the future of the Raiders, the fact that those 3 young offensive linemen are growing?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you look at our whole team. I mean, our offense. Like if you look at our starting offense, when Aiden's out there, 6 of our 11 starters are first and second year players, so these guys are competing, they're fighting. I feel like they're getting better. I told you, like, obviously we're not getting the results that we want on the scoreboard, but there's a lot of, like, I talk to the guys, all the time, but saying, like, you can pull up our games and, like, there's plays being made, but it's just the emphasis on, like, finishing drives, finishing games. I mean, we finished this last game. We just didn't put ourselves in a good position, early. So, playing a complete game, but we got really 2 veterans on offense, and that's Colton and Cobes, Jacoby. The rest of the guys are, like I said, second year guys, or even like third year, maybe guys that have kind of bounced around. Now they're getting opportunities, but they're competing, and that's what, really as a coach, that's all you can ask for, and we just keep coaching them and keep trying to get them better.
How challenging is it with the way teams are attacking Brock Bowers, and how do you try to decipher that?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I mean, we came out this past game, we ran the ball a little more than we have been, so that took down some targets for him. Everyone, like, he's got a big bullseye on him. They're going to try to take him away. So I just got to do a better job of moving him around, trying to get some easy I mean, there's nothing easy in this league, but some less challenging catches, because he's so great with the ball in his hands. We just got to get him, because he breathes life into our team. Obviously, he's a great player. So, that's something that I got to just make sure I'm doing a better job of. We did a good job of it, and then these last couple games, teams have done a good job of kind of getting the quarterback off of him in the progressions.
I talked to Brock yesterday about the rookie wall.
Yeah.
And he said he really hasn't hit it. Is he just a unicorn?
Yeah, it's like, I think I talked to you guys about this before. Like, it's just about, like, his approach and his, like, he takes care of his body. He's one of the first guys in the building every day. Like, he's in the training room. Like, he's so competitive. It obviously you see that on game day, but he's competitive about making sure, like, he's in the training room as much as possible to make sure he's as healthy as he can be. He studies. So, like, he just loves football. Like, I mean, a lot of guys love football, but, like, he loves football. And so he's going to do everything he can to be ready. And obviously he's incredibly talented and he's a great athlete. So that helps him. But no, there's no wall.
All right, thanks, Coach.
Okay. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys.